The Packers received some troubling news that we will look at here in a moment. But first, with the playoffs coming, I would love for you guys to leave your comments. Who is that team that you're like, man, I really hope the Packers don't see that team in the playoffs? Well, let's take a look at the current standings. As it sits right now, you got Detroit on top at 12-1. That is not that team for me. I'm actually hoping the Packers can meet that team again for the third time this season. Then behind them, you got the Philadelphia Eagles at 11-2. That's not the team either for me. The Packers would be playing them for a second time this season. Coming out of the West, you've got Seattle also fighting for position there. You've got the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Niners. And then you've got out of the South as it sits right now, you got Tampa Bay on top at 7-6, also fighting for a playoff position. Are the Atlanta Falcons at 6-7? Neither team scares me. For the Packers to play somebody out of the South, I would actually welcome that. Baker Mayfield's not that quarterback where I'm like, oh my gosh, I really, really hope the Packers don't see him. I hope Jeff Hafley doesn't have to game plan against a Baker Mayfield. That is not what I'm thinking. You got Minnesota Vikings and the Commanders also in that playoff picture as well. So for me, that team would be the Los Angeles Rams. That's a team that I'm looking at saying, okay, they are pretty hot right now, and they're coming off of a big win against Buffalo where they put up 44 points against Buffalo's defense. That's a team that I'm like, okay, if they make the playoffs, they come out of the West, that means they probably go on a 6-game win streak. That is not a team that I want to go on the road at Los Angeles and play them. Certainly wouldn't welcome that game. They probably got one of the best dynamic duo of wide receivers out there with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, just behind Justin Jefferson and Addison in Minnesota, in my opinion. So that is that team for me. Leave your comments. Let me know who it is for you. So what's the troubling news the Packers receive? Well, it happens to come with their latest signing. It says right here, the Packers return veteran offensive lineman Michael Jordan to the Packers practice squad on Monday. Michael Jordan, a fourth-round pick, came out of Cincinnati in 2019 and spent most of 2023 season with the Packers on their practice squad. The 26-year-old then went to New England and appeared in 12 games, made 11 starts, playing 685 snaps on offense for the Patriots this season. He was released by them December 3rd. Jordan played almost all his snaps at left guard for the Patriots. He committed 2 penalties, 1 holding, 1 false start, and allowed 3 sacks, 23 total pressures while struggling as a run blocker. PFF had a total grade on Jordan, Michael Jordan, at a 51.4, including a decent 60.4 pass block grade and a poor run block grade of a 44.8. So why is that troubling? Well, Matt LaFleur gave an injury update on the Packers. One of the troubling things is that Romeo Doubs still hasn't been cleared from his concussion protocol, the concussion that he sustained November 24th. So I'm looking at this saying, okay, we went out and got a guard in Michael Jordan. Where is Jordan Morgan at? Because he was supposed to be, he's eligible to come off of injured reserve this week, but no information has been given, which means his injury must be worse than what the Packers are letting on. The Packers, of course, selected Jordan Morgan in the first round, and selecting him where they did, the expectation was for him to start somewhere on this offensive line. It became clear right off the bat that they were going to use him as a guard, but then Sean Ryan and him were kind of battling it back and forth, and then the decision was made pretty easily when Jordan Morgan went out with these shoulder injuries that he's kind of been battling all season long. But when Sean Ryan went out this last week against Detroit, Kadeem Tolfert came in, and I was like, okay, that dude is a big boy, and he fit the bill pretty well. But the Packers must be thinking and not having great confidence in Jordan Morgan, a guy that they went out and spent a first-round draft pick. Again, his injury must be worse than imagined. So his combine profile, obviously it says right here in his overview, the 3-year starter displayed some resilience and a good work ethic by coming back from suffering an torn ACL in the entire 2022 season. So you're left thinking, okay, so is Jordan Morgan going to be one of those guys that is going to have injuries throughout his career? I'm not saying this guy is a bust or anything like that, but for Jordan Morgan, the Packers obviously they spent a first round pick on him with offensive linemen. Sometimes it takes a lot of time to develop him, but a first round pick, the Packers obviously anticipated using him a lot throughout the season, if not him starting at this point in the season. But at this point, we're just going to be happy to get this guy back. I would have loved to have seen Brian Gutekunst go out there and fill that practice squad with a DB, a corner that we mentioned in the previous video. So it is troubling news coming out of Green Bay because Jordan Morgan's injury must be worse than what they are letting on. Leave your comments, and as always, go Pack Go.